Arlington looks similar. They've still got Preston Knott there at the top of the order. He's got a double in each of the first 2 ball games. Zach Mazik packs a big punch there in the 3-hole, and Austin Phillips has homered in this series as well. Taking the mound for the Razorbacks this afternoon, left-hander Colin Fisher. And Troy, he was awfully good last weekend.
Boy, he really was. Complete game in 8 innings, only gave up 1 hit, and that was a comebacker that ricocheted off of Fisher himself, and he wishes he could have made that play because he would have had a no-hitter. But again, just a guy that really knows how to pitch, works the ball all around the whole zone. The fastball sit in that low 90s. Not overpowering, but just really good stuff and great command.
Jason Bradley will call balls and strikes today. Jeremy Dupree at first, Scott Kennedy at second, and Michael Lusky at third. A strike, and we're underway. UT Arlington has struggled with left-handed pitching in this series. Hunter Dietz, the starter yesterday, and then Cole Gibler went 3 2/3 in relief on Friday. But between those two gentlemen, the Mavericks are 3 of 34 against left-handed pitchers through the first 2 days. Able to lay off that pitch. Ducked away from him. Preston Knott comes in hitting .367.
Boy, he's really one of those guys you love to have at the top of your lineup. Just a scrappy hitter, can hit for a little bit of power in that leadoff spot.
And this is the first time this year that he'd been in the leadoff was this series, and now has been there all 3 games, and I think he's found his home there. 4 doubles in only 7 games, 1 triple as well. Got him swinging. Good start for Colin Fisher.
There's that sweeping breaking ball by Fisher. You can see it right here. Starts in the zone and just tails off. And that's too close for not to take. And just, again, great location by Colin Fisher. Colin Fisher looks a little different to Arkansas fans than a season ago. Has really put on about 10 to 15 pounds of muscle in the last year and a half or so, and really kind of slimmed up and worked really hard in that weight room. Hunter Bell, probably one of the best in the country, the young strength and conditioning coach of the Hogs.
1-1 to Xavier Melendez. Hopped foul and an early souvenir for a lucky fan. Melendez had a hit in that first inning on Friday in which UT Arlington plated 2 runs, the first 3 batters of the game with hits. But Melendez 0 of 8 since then. Diving stop by Souza. Hops up, throws over, and a hand just grazing the safety bag for Melendez as the throw brought Robinette a little bit off the bag. Good stop, though.
I think that Souza maybe have rushed that throw just a little bit. I think he might have had a little more time, how hard that ball was hit. And, boy, that's where that extra base you talked about at that green safety base really came into play right there for Melendez. You know, he was going to miss the white one and just got a piece of it.
First pitch strike to Zach Mazik. He and Preston Knott, who led off, the only 2 left-handed bats in the lineup today. Slow roller towards short. Souza tosses to second for 1. Relay to first, not in time.
Boy, off the bat, you thought that was going to be really tough to turn 2 for the Hogs, and you've got the left-handed Mazik. You know, when you're a left-handed batter, you're a couple steps closer to first base, and that really helped him right there. And I think that's what you do. You just make sure you get that lead runner out, keep that base runner out of scoring position, and if you can turn 2, so be it.
Brings up Xander McAfee.
Now, Josh, this is a UTA team that really does not run much at all. They were only 5 of 6 on the season. And just to put it in perspective, their opponents are 18 of 21. You've got Fisher, the lefty, with a good move, really close right there. Not a lot of wind today. What little breeze, it's blowing in from left. I don't think it's going to affect many balls, but maybe like the one that Micah New hit yesterday, it might hold that one in the park.
That's in for a strike.
Well, that one almost sailed on Colin Fisher. I think he's happy that Reese Robinette's the first baseman over there. And that's little plays like that. You really don't realize what a tall first baseman with a good arm spread has. I mean, that ball, if it's probably Camden Kojal over there, it's going to sail past him.
1-2 now to Xander McAfee. Young man who transferred from McLennan Junior College. That takes a hop to the hole. It's short. Brumbaugh, and on a hop, it gets past Robinette.
It's going to put runners at the corners here. Or excuse me, he's going to go to second base. Will McAfee, I mean, just got under the glove of Susan, and Brumbaugh did all he could, and just kind of one of those in-between hops for Robinette over at first base, and the Mavericks have something brewing here in the first inning.
Austin Phillips. He's the man that hit what ended up being the game-winning home run. At the time, it gave them a 4-0 lead, but after the 4-3 win was decided, then Phillips ultimately the game-winning homer, a 2-run shot. High chopper here. Kojal's got it, and the Hogs get out of the first unscathed. 2 left on base. We'll introduce you to the Razorbacks lineup when we come back. And it's a freshman who gets the go today, right-hander Zach Evans, Troy.
Yeah, Evans has got a really good arm. That fastball will be the low to mid-90s. Coach Trapazzo talks about Evans and said, you know, tool-wise, he's probably one of the most talented players on this Maverick ball club, and said the sky's the limit for him. And I think for him, it's just got to be able to continue to hit his spots and just kind of work the whole side of the plate, kind of like what Kalen Diger did in that Friday night game.
The lineup for the Razorbacks this morning: Damian Ruiz, Camden Kojal, Ryder Helfrich, trying to get him started off on the right foot. And there's Micah New, who had that 3-run home run yesterday. Razorbacks have done a better job in recent at-bats than they had early on in the series, getting the leadoff aboard.
I think Arkansas is really good to have. Glad to have Ruiz back at that top of the lineup. You know, he was out with a little bit of a calf strain, and yesterday 2 for 4. It's kind of what you want your leadoff guy to do. Just kind of setting the table early.
having a word with the pitcher, Zach Evans, here. Maybe just, I don't know, something to do with how he was set up, maybe?
Not really sure, because he didn't change anything. It wasn't like he had, you know, a wristband on or anything like that. He did with, you know, uniform-wise or glove-wise.
Fastball at 92 inside. I think the biggest thing, pitching in a premier ballpark in the country like this, and a freshman making his first start, the biggest thing that Coach Trapasso told us about him, he said, he's not scared. You better not be in this atmosphere.
That's exactly right. Might have a little bit more of a late arriving crowd, being a 11 o'clock game, you know, people trying to attend church and go grab something to eat and get to the ballpark. But yeah, you've got a team like Arkansas and ranked in the top 10, and some guys just have that ability to have that slow heart rate. I think that's what Evans has in this situation. 94 in that last fall, 95 on TrackMan. Some good late life.
How much do you think it helps this Mavericks team coming to the ballpark today, knowing they've already won a game in this series? Hey, we don't have to be the victim here.
Yeah, I think so. It gives them a lot of confidence. And again, they've already taken down another top 10 team in TCU. So they know they can play with anybody in the country. Coach Trapazzo, it gets back to consistency. I think that's what you see, you know, out of your elite teams across D1 baseball is, you know, day in, day out. Can you make the plays? Can you make the pitches?
Liner right at the third baseman, Austin Phillips. I'll bring up Camden Kojal. Yeah, he told us, he said, you know, some people like to say, well, it's a mid-major. Maybe they don't have, you know, all the things that some of these other big teams. He said, look, we've got plenty. We have got plenty going in our community, in our university, in our program. It's time to stop being average. And he said that's kind of the theme that I've made for us this year is we've been average for way too long. We don't have to be that anymore, and we're not going to be that.
Yeah, I think it's looking back and not really making excuses. Oh, we don't have maybe the facilities of these different ball clubs. And he goes, you have to look and see what you have. You've got some great weather, you know, down there in that DFW area. You've got tremendous talent, you know, in the state of just the cities and then just the state of Texas. So you don't have to recruit really far. And he said you start looking at the positives instead of the negatives, and you come out and it's like, okay, we're ready to go. We can play with anybody. Yeah, consistently sitting at 95 is Zach Evans with that fastball. And it just seems like an easy, fluid motion as well. Like some guys really kind of give, that looks like that max effort every time they throw a pitch. And Evans just looks like he can throw a complete game at this point. Down to the bottom of the zone, and that's going to go Cam Kojal's way. And I think Ho wanted that one. I think he pretty close pitch.
Fouled back, and the count is full. Sixth appearance of the year for Evans. He had been their most heavily used reliever, but his first career start today. This one popped up, drifting towards the seats. And making the catch, Austin Phillips.
Phillips, the baseball's finding him early on in this ball game. That was a really good job by Phillips. One, he had a lot of talk from his dugout, but just get to that fence, you know, find it with that non-glove hand, and then make your adjustment from there. See Helfrich out of Discovery Bay, California, kind of right outside of San Francisco.
First pitch strike to Helfrich. You talked about that upset over TCU earlier this year. That was down in Globe Life Field. UT Arlington had a 9-run first inning, and TCU came fighting back. They brought the tying run to the plate with 1 out in the 9th, and that's when they called on this guy, Zach Evans, and he closed it out and got the save. Ryder Helfrich going the other way.
Boy, just great quality at batting. We kind of saw it in yesterday's game by Arkansas. Was just they weren't antsy, they weren't jumpy at the plate, really patient, and most everybody hit the ball up the middle the other way, and that was just a great approach. That's a fastball in the outer third, and it's the difference of letting that ball travel. If you try to hit that pitch and try to pull it, it's probably going to be a ground ball to shortstop. It's going to be the third out of the inning instead of a base hit by Helfrich.
First pitch strike to Kuhio Aloy. Close. Trying to dot the lower outside corner.
That's a really difference of what this at-bat looks like. It's Lloyd gets the call right there, and now it's 1-1 instead of 0-2.
Down 1-2 now with 2 outs. Now the approach to the plate yesterday was a lot better. According to Dave Van Horn, he said after yesterday's game that there's only a couple of at-bats that he could think of where they were just really head scratchers, but outside of that, liked what they did. They've strung together some hits, and the home plate umpire makes the call. Says Aloy went around. A strikeout for Zach Evans, and he holds the Hogs off the scoreboard. Zeros after 1. Two pretty good weather days at the ballpark, but now this first day of March, everybody just holding that the rain holds off so we can complete this ball game and the series. Colin Fisher, the lefty, pitched a scoreless first, despite a hit and an error. Ethan Ho will lead things off for the Mavericks. For 2 with a walk yesterday. Had a base hit on Friday. And he's got a hit here. Knocks this into left field.
Nice job by Ho jumping on that pitch. Left right over the heart of the plate. You don't see that very often from Colin Fisher. And oh, got turned around in a hurry, about 103 off the bat of the catcher, Ho.
It's only the 4th time in the series that the leadoff of an inning is reached safely. for UT Arlington. And now Kalen Dygert, the man who pitched the gem on Friday. Dygert had hit sparingly in his freshman year, not much early on last year, his sophomore campaign, but he was going so well on the mound they didn't want to disrupt that. But about a month and a half to go in the season, they needed some offense. They slotted him in as the DH in the series down at Grand Canyon. Dygert hit a home run, drew a couple of walks, and never left the lineup after that. As long as he wasn't pitching, he was the man.
That'll get you in the lineup, won't it? For sure. Take one deep in your first game you get to play in.
Goes down swinging here, and that's an important one for Fisher. Keep that leadoff runner on first base and getting the first down.
Yeah, that's such a tough pitch. It gets right up under his hands, and see Dygert really try to pull that barrel head inside the baseball and just couldn't quite do it. Again, we talk about, everybody talks so much about velocity, but it's just more about location. Changing speeds and getting different shapes on that pitch.
First pitch, Alex Bustamante gets plunked. Well, that's an ill-advised one for Fisher that they'd like to have back. That's a guy in Bustamante who's got some skills, but the junior hometown player from Arlington only has 3 at-bats on the year, and at the bottom of the lineup, I'd like to challenge him.
You're going to get hit by a pitch. How about 79? You'll take that one any day of the week.
Brings up Holden Rook. Ground ball to short. Brumbaugh to second for 1. Relay to first. Double play. 6-4-3 twin killing to end the inning.
Really nice job by Colin Fisher bouncing back the tailor-made 6-4-3 double play.
Shaylee and Troy Eklund back with you from Baum-Walker Stadium. Hogs coming to bat, bottom of the second inning. Rubber match of this series. You got to go all the way back to 2014, the last time Arkansas lost a non-conference weekend series on the home field. They answered the call yesterday. Decisive victory, 9-0.
Yeah, just much better at-bats for Arkansas in yesterday's ball game. Again, you can't take anything away from Kalen Dygert. He just threw a gem on Friday, and that sometimes you just have to tip your hat. And again, I think that he had great velocity, just pinpoint accuracy, and mixed up his pitches and really kept those Arkansas hitters off balance.
"20 pitches now, 12 for strikes. For Zach Evans, making his first ever start.
Really good pitcher's pitch right there. And then sometimes you think about an at-bat, that's a great take by Robinette, and then just a great pitch by Evans not to give in and throwing right down the middle.
Robinette 3 of 8, a double and an RBI in the series. A multi-hit game yesterday. He's now tied for the team lead, 5 multi-hit contests this year, and has at least 2 hits in 4 of the last 6 games. Skied up into center. Xander McAfee makes the catch. Shortstop and center fielder both lost their ball caps.
Almost looked like Bustamante, the shortstop, was kind of guiding traffic out there in center field, and you know the name of the game is it's the center fielder's ball until he doesn't call it. It's a good job by McAfee, just kind of taking control of that situation.
Zach Stewart, who got the start yesterday, came through with an early sac fly. That was in the 3rd inning and then walked in the 5th.
You know, Josh, you think about just how much college baseball has changed, and especially pitching. You have a guy that's got a real live arm like Zach Evans, and before it's like, you know, hey, just pound the bottom of the zone, keep that ball down around the knees. And I think through all the analytics with velocity and a higher spin rate, that ball almost kind of looks like it takes off in those batters. That's how you see a lot of guys foul off that pitch up in the zone, kind of like that one by Zach Stewart. The 2 balls he's fouled back were both high fastballs, and you see a lot of these young pitchers not afraid to throw up in the zone and having a lot more success. If you're going to, guys are going to be able to square one up, a lot of times it's just a high towering fly ball. See another pitch, a little bit up and out.
96 that time.
Yeah, the velocity's definitely there, and it's just easy. It almost looks like he's just out there playing catch with Ho, the catcher.
Drifting foul down the left field line.
And Stewart just spoiling a good pitcher's pitch at the top of that zone.
How about Dave Van Horn throwing batting practice yesterday? That didn't take long to be out there, and everybody wanted to know all about it, but a couple of the players said they really enjoyed it.
You know, sometimes you see Coach Van Horn likes to stand in shallow center field and watch batting practice, gets a little bit better of an angle, he says.
Stewart tees off on this to dead center. Going back, it's gone!
That'll get your dugout fired up. How about 107 off the bat of Stewart? Hit that one dead center field, 412 feet. Went down in the bottom part of the zone. Boy, when he hit it, it sure sounded good. You could always watch that center fielder and see his reaction, and it just carried too far out for McAfee to even make an attempt. And well, that is a good feeling. And again, Arkansas fans saw Zach Stewart do that for the Missouri State Bears, and now he's doing it in a Razorback uniform.
Rounding the bases, telling the pitcher, Zach Evans, hey, don't feel bad. I've done that to over 30 other pitchers in my life. Career home run number 47 for Zach Stewart. He's had a handful of multi-homer games, too, in his career.
That's one thing, one of the downsides of throwing hard. Usually when it comes in hard, it gets turned around hard pretty fast when somebody squares one up.
Up into Max bases loaded landing. right field corner. Well, they asked Mike Anu yesterday after the game about his home run. They said, "You know that was going out?" And he said, "No. I just figured I did enough to get the sac fly." And you love to hear that mentality from a veteran player like that especially, but that mentality, he was going up there thinking, all I've got to do is find a way to get this run in. How do I drive in a run?
I think that kind of gets back to the old saying, do your job. Your job is to get that sac fly in that situation, something to the outfield. If it ends up being a little extra, then so be it.
And he was asked about a hard line out that he had too right after that, a line out to right field in the 5th inning. And he said, you know, it's me versus the pitcher. If I hit the ball hard, then that's what I'm concerned about. And after that, I can't control it. But we're just trying to hit the ball hard. So if you're focused on the process, the results are going to come. And that type of mentality, I think, should give people some optimism when it comes to the recent offensive struggles for the Razorbacks, as they're still just focused on the process.
Yeah, I think so. I think you've got a long season, and one game or a couple games don't define a team. And you just have to not hit the panic mode and kind of go through your normal routine.
Nolan Souza hits one well. Xander McAfee chases it down though. But Zach Stewart, a big swing to open the scoring.
How about dead straightaway center field for Stewart? Got that front foot down and just unleashed. 412-foot bomb. Hogs up 1-0.
Well, the fans are a little bit happier now that it's a 1-0 lead for the home team. For now, there's some rays of sunshine peeking through.
Do you wear those striped overalls to church and then come to the ballpark? You just wonder if you do. It's like, what is everybody thinking? It's like, oh, I've got to get to the game right after the service.
An outfit fit for all occasions. Colin Fisher pounding the strike zone. 17 pitches for strikes through his first 22.
Preston Knott's going to make you work. I think the last at-bat he had might have gone to full count, at least a 2-2 count. Not afraid to jump on a pitch early in the count, but also going to make that pitcher work just a little bit.
Nine hits in his last 5 games and has reached safely in all 7 he's played.
You know, years past they used to have the batter they wouldn't allow him to leave the batter's box, and so this year they can kind of do whatever they want. They just have to get in the box. They call it in a hitting position, which means your both feet set, your eyes are on the pitcher, and your hands are ready to hit. And you have to do that before 8 seconds. So a lot of these guys there's a clock on the scoreboard and there's one behind them, and they'll sometimes want to use that whole 8 seconds. Or you at least get it down to 8 seconds. Use the 12 seconds to get in the box.
First walk issued by Colin Fisher. But the leadoff aboard for the second straight inning. Checking him back to first.
We talk about this Maverick team. They don't run a lot. Like I said, only 5 of 6 on the season, but Preston Knott is 2 for 2. Pretty big lead. That's one of those ones I just want to see us move a couple times leads. Defensively, Arkansas is playing Xavier Melendez pretty straight away. Maybe a little shallow in the outfield, maybe trying to steal a line drive and not let it dump in front of them.
Including today, the Mavericks are just 4 of 22 with runners on base. And the situational hitting, that's a big focus for second-year head coach Mike Trapasso and his team. He told us on Thursday night, he said that's been kind of eluding us so far. We've struggled with that. We've got to get that going. They were able to do it early on Friday, and that's what resulted in the win behind that strong pitching start from Kalen Dygert.
It's the Mavericks team that's only hit 5 home runs so far in 10 games.
Two and one now.
Fisher really changes up how long he holds that baseball. He varies his looks over to first base. Sometimes he'll go to the plate after one look. I think that last one he had like 3 different looks. Looked into home, and then that one just one look. Good job by Fisher to battle back after getting down 2 balls, no strikes.
Chopped down foul. Melendez, a .317 hitter a year ago. Hit 5 home runs, drove in 34. He's one of their top and most reliable hitters throughout the course of the season. And that's why he's near the top of the order. Has been all of 2026. Doing all he can to stay alive here, protecting the outer half of the plate. This part of an 18-game homestand for the Razorbacks. Fans will get to see this all the way through to the start of conference play. Mississippi State will come to town to open up the SEC slate. And Fisher finally able to get him. And Melendez was tough up there. Fisher stayed locked in.
Almost 2,700 on the spin rate on that breaking ball. And again, when you have that much spin, you're going to get a lot of depth. You see Melendez just swing right over the top of that baseball.
Second straight inning that the leadoff has gotten aboard, but Colin Fisher gets a strikeout to follow.
It's a really good job by Fisher right there, and a lot of fans at home may have not seen it, but Preston Knott was trying to keep just creeping off. You don't want that base runner to keep that momentum going towards second base. You want to stop him in his tracks, and sometimes as a pitcher you got to hold that baseball long enough where they're gonna stop. It just kind of helps you if you're going to steal a base or have any kind of momentum. You want to make sure those feet get set.
This ball hit to straightaway center. Mike Anu is in position. Makes the catch, and there's 2 away. So now it brings up Xander McAfee. Just hit a ground ball to the hole at short last time up that resulted in a hit, and then a throwing error advanced the runners. Despite 2 in scoring position, though, in that first inning, Fisher was able to get out of it unscathed. And he deals in a first pitch strike to McAfee.
Josh, you talked about McAfee hitting that ball kind of right past Souza at third. Carson Brumbaugh is just shaded over in that hole just a little bit more. Trying to maybe take that ground ball away from McAfee. Kind of wanders back up the middle as the catcher throws the ball back, but there he comes back into that hole. And try to see patterns of hitters and see what they do and where they hit that baseball.
McAfee's got some pop at the plate. I mean, he's not a overly imposing guy in terms of like stoutness, but he's got some muscle, and he's hit a couple to the wall so far in this series. Last year, homered 6 times.
A lot of times it just gets down to bat speed and how fast you get that bat through the zone, and you don't have to be just super big and strong. You can generate some bat speed and you can get some distance on that hit.
Popped up on the infield. Robinette settles under it, makes the catch. Side retired, another leadoff aboard, and another one stranded. 1-0 Razorbacks. They come to the plate when we come back. Well, you look at the starting pitching so far this weekend and what they've allowed. A little bit a tale of 2 days for each of the 2 teams, but good strikeout to walk ratios, which follows suit exactly for what these programs are. Not teams of just this year, but what these programs are about.
Yeah, I think so, and that's the number that really jumped out at me is these pitchers for both teams really filling up that strike zone. It keeps your defense on their toes when you're throwing strikes, because when you start walking a bunch of people and you get those fielders back on their heels and then there's a ball hit at them, they're more likely to have an error. Carson Brumbaugh coming up for Arkansas and had a soft tapper, and he got an infield hit yesterday, and sometimes that might be all you need, just something positive as a hitter.
He also drew a walk yesterday.
Again, that always happens when you're kind of scuffling a little bit at the plate. You know, the first pitch you get is a fastball down on the outside corner, unhittable strike.
That ball well hit, running back, and it's over the head of Preston Knott. Brumbaugh into second. There you go. Right on cue, Troy.
Yeah, again, it's the approach of the Arkansas hitters I've been really impressed with. The last couple games, this is a fastball breaking ball up in the zone. A lot of guys try to pull that pitch. It's going to be a ground ball to short or third. Brumbaugh lets that ball travel. That ball goes over that right fielder's head, and I guarantee you there's been, I'm sure, a time or two that Dad's kind of helped him with that pitch recognition. It really shows right there.
His first career extra base hit. Damian Ruiz steps in. He has father Cliff, longtime professional baseball player, had a stint in the bigs. Here's Damian Ruiz, the transfer from Lamar. Award-winning bat and glove for Ruiz.
A really good get for Arkansas out of the portal from Lamar. He's just stepped on campus and has done nothing but just get on base. Boy, the corners are in on the infield, both Dygert at first and Phillips at third. Again, great location with that fastball on that outer third. And I think if you're Ruiz, if he has to rewind that one, I think he wishes he could have taken an opportunity. His job is to move that runner up to third base, and that fastball away is one he could have done some damage, hitting that ball the other way.
Well done by the catcher, Ethan Ho, to slide over and keep that close.
It was pretty athletic right there by Ho. That pitch was way off the plate. It didn't even register on TrackMan. That's when you know you've missed the zone.
The payoff.
You know, Josh, we're really not anywhere clear for the Mavericks to kind of start looking to the bullpen, but you think back and what a great job that Dygert did of just eating up tons of pitches on Friday. So they've got a pretty well-rested bullpen.
This ball is a towering shot to left center field at the track. McAfee makes the catch. Brumbaugh gets down to third base.
It's not the patented way that you move the runner up, but a long drive by Ruiz, and I think he would have wished that would have been hit on Friday. Wind blowing way out on Friday, just a little bit of breeze blowing in. I think he caught that one on the end of the bat, just a hair, and heads up base running by the freshman Brumbaugh, moving up with no throw in from second to third. Now this sacrifice fly will score a run.
Camden Kojal, who was on Baseball America's National Team of the Week after his performance last weekend against Xavier, takes ball one. Had 7 hits in that 3-game sweep. A double, a triple, 2 homers, and 7 runs driven in. Hit for the cycle in game 2.
Getting really good life on that fastball by Evans up in the zone. We talked about pitchers that have a good high spin rate, that ball just carries right over the bat. It's such a hard pitch at 94 to get on top of. And Kojal's job right here, just drive something to the outfield. Got Brumbaugh that runs really well at third base. He's going to score easily on a sacrifice fly.
High fly ball to center field. Going back. It is gone.
Kozel had other thoughts than just hitting a sack fly. He's like, well, I could just hit it over the wall. And how about a pair of RBIs? You can see, boy, talk about some guys really squaring the baseball up, and it was a fastball right down the middle. Kozel just absolutely hammers it. How about 109 off the bat of Kozel? He got an extra 1.5 feet and beat that home run by Zach Stewart. How about 413 at the center field?
Helfrich trying to bunt first pitch. Team leading 6th home run and pushes his team leading RBI total to 15.
I love how Nate Thompson greeted Carson Brumball in the dugout. He was super excited, gave him a big pat on the helmet after he came in, and you got to love when you perform, you know, you get that recognition from the coaching staff. Goes a long way for young players.
Marathon, not a race, not a sprint. You could tell that belief was still there in Brumbaugh, as you alluded to.
Yeah, he had hit some balls fairly square. It just hadn't found any green grass.
Helfrich, a laser into left field.
That's a really good pitch by Evans. That's up and in, not even a strike, and Helfrich just muscles this ball out in left field. You look back and when Evans goes through with his pitching coach and which is head coach Mike DePrazzo, and like, you know what? You threw a great pitch and the guy just beat you on a great pitch.
Evans had not given up a home run this year in 5 relief appearances, and this is just a moment to reinstill some confidence. You love to see that from a veteran guy like Mike Trapasso, and that's why he's had such a long and successful career. Former National Coach of the Year.
Kind of up the middle the other way, and I think that's how you kind of get out of that little bit of an offensive slump that the team had for a few ball games. Is don't try to do too much Don't be over antsy and jumpy at the plate.
Zach Stewart or homered last time up.
Really good off-speed pitch by Evans right there, and you can definitely see the talent and the stuff is there for Evans. It's just being consistent with those pitches and just kind of trying to do like Dagger did and just miss that hard of the plate.
Right back to him. Somehow that stayed secured in his glove. Even he was surprised about it, but he stood tall and gets the final out.
After a double by Carson Brombach, Camden Kojal comes up, hits a no-doubter dead center field. Hogs up 4-0.
Arkansas gets 3 runs in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Take a commanding 4-0 lead now. Back to work for Colin Fisher. Austin Phillips, the leadoff man, grounded out to second, first time up. And not only did he hit that 2-run homer on Friday that ended up being the decisive hit, but he also had the game-ending defensive play. A scorched ball off the bat of Micah New, 110 exit that Phillips was able to collapse down towards short, pick it up and fire over to first to end the ball game. And that was with a runner at second. Line here right to Kojal.
Phillips, really talented third baseman. Again, a guy that Coach Trapazzo said that we were lucky to get him to campus.
He said, you know, with the transfer portal now, that's allowed us to be able to get some guys that we might not have been able to get in a mid or any mid-major for that matter, you know, 10 years ago or so. Strike into Ethan Ho, who had a base hit to lead off the 2nd inning.
Colin Fisher just continuing to pound that strike zone and get ahead of hitters. Now you can really try to get them to expand that zone right there, trying to nibble with that breaking ball away. And seems like one of his most effective pitches is that breaking ball that ends up down around the feet of the hitter.
Called strike 3. 4th strikeout for Fisher.
And one of Fisher's best changeups right here. You see that one? I think Helfrich might have stole one at the very bottom part of the zone. You know, Josh, you think about it's the first day of March, but we've gone back-to-back days with the windows open here in the booth, and so we'll take that any day of the week. About 70 degrees here at the ballpark on Sunday.
Foul out of play. Yeah, this part of the country this time of year, if it's dry and above freezing, you better just take it and roll on.
Big shocker. Fisher's 0-2 again.
Two hopper to short. Brumbaugh loads up and fires across. First 1-2-3 inning of the afternoon. Colin Fisher staying sharp, and the Hogs in front 4-0. Sixth-ranked Razorbacks in the rubber match this afternoon, looking to get another series win. It'll be their 34th consecutive non-conference home weekend series. And they'll face a new pitcher here in the fourth inning. Right-handed reliever Jack Barr on for the Mavericks.
Like a lot of these college pitchers, they're tall. How about Barr at 6'4"? He's going to sit in the upper 80s with that fastball. Throws 4 different pitches. Throws both the curveball and the slider. That slider's going to be a little more slurvy, kind of a combination of the two. That 3/4 release guy, and again, looks like he's had a little bit more success against left-handers than right-handers. How about lefties? Excuse me, right-handers and lefties. Yeah, lefties hitting 200, righties 385 against Barr. It's so funny when you see guys go out there and they're so ready to pitch, and they go, you know what, I gotta get the pitch calm.
It's not the first time this series that we've seen that happen either.
I need the watch. I need the little piece that goes into your hat. Too much to think about.
Micah New takes ball 1. Fourth time out of the bullpen this year for Jack Barr. Has logged 4 1/3. And sure, a couple of home runs given up by the starter, Zach Evans, his first career start. But, man, the stuff is there, Troy, and the future's bright for him.
Yeah, it really is. And I think that's kind of what Coach DePrazzo was trying to tell him as he went out there, saying, you know, hey, you're facing some veteran players, some guys that do have some pop in the bat. But, well, you keep doing what you did today and be a little more consistent and stand out of the middle part of the plate. And with the stuff he has, he's going to have a lot of success.
Didn't walk anybody. Struck out 2 in 3 innings of work. 14 bases last year from Marshall. That's his second of the season here today. In for a strike to Souza. Nolan flat out to center field, first time up. Souza's been in 6 different spots in the lineup so far this year.
Saw Souza, you know, again, we've talked about do your job. What's Nolan Souza's job in this situation right here? No outs, runner on second. Your job is to hit that baseball to the right side. So you're probably thinking that they're going to pitch me away. You almost kind of have to get that barrel hat out in front and kind of hook that to the right side.
Well, he does just that. Melendez gobbles it up and fires to first for the out, but down to third for Micah New.
I mean, those look like little things. You're like, okay, he hit a routine ground ball, but he's going to get some props in the dugout because the coaching staff and his teammates know that did exactly what he was supposed to do. Now that's going to bring the Maverick defense in. It is just the bottom of the fourth, but they feel like they cannot afford any more runs.
Brumbaugh, first pitch fouled off.
There's that infield in, everybody creeping up to the cut of the grass, trying to keep that runner at third base planted. Micah New, his job is to make sure that ball goes through on a line drive or the ground ball. You got to just freeze at third.
Skied up to right field. Knott makes the catch, and that's more productivity from Carson Brumbaugh.
That is an old-fashioned manufactured run. Souza hits the ground ball to the right side, moves New from second to third, and then the sacrifice fly by the freshman Brumbaugh. And again, DVH is pretty stoic over there at first base, but he's got a big smile on his face inside, playing a little poker over there with that expression.
With a runner on third and less than 2 outs, Arkansas as a team now 13 of 16 times bringing the runner in. That is not good, not great. That is elite level, over 80% of the time. If you do that all year, you're putting yourself in great spots for that old-fashioned situational baseball.
Well, you're going to get into conference play, and you're going to see games are won and lost by a run. And just what they did right there in that situation, call it situational hitting, and that's going to get you victories instead of L's.
So as Brumbaugh really been getting the bat going, had 2 consecutive hits, his first career extra base hit, gets his first career RBI to make it 5-0.
Good pitcher's pitch right there by Jack Barr. Definitely on the high end of the strike zone, but for sure a strike. Arkansas faithful, a little grumbling a little bit, but definitely was a strike. Jason Bradley calling balls and strikes behind the plate today. Good pitch by Barr, breaking ball that just caught a piece of that inside corner, and it's a nice job by Ruiz. You just got to get a piece of one and get another shot. In a situation like that, just spoil the pitcher's pitch.
Low for ball 4. Second walk of the inning for Jack Barr. Look out. Here comes Camden Kozel again. 26 career home runs. Hit 5 his freshman year at Vanderbilt, 15 last year for the Razorbacks, and a team leading 6, including the one last inning. Pitch clock violation.
That was interesting because Kozel gets up there and then he looks at the clock, and I think he's supposed to be in the box with his head up with 8 seconds. At about 9.5, he realizes that he's not in the box, and he almost kind of jumps in there real quick, and then I think that kind of threw Jack Barr off and got the delay, and now it's 1 ball, no strikes. I think Kozel did that on purpose. You can see him right here, and he's like, uh-oh. And made sure his eyes were up and he was ready to go. Great job by our crew to give us that replay right there. That was funny.
Look out. Put that one into his own dugout. Take down in the dirt, 2-1. Ruiz going again. And that fair ball just got to it before it crossed the line. Good job by Kalen Digert to attack that baseball before it crossed over into foul territory. Gets him out of the inning. Razorbacks get 1 and lead it 5-0.
Just a great job by Colin Fisher so far in this game. Again, just coming off a stellar performance a week ago, just keeping the ball in the bottom part of the zone. Again, the stuff is not incredibly electric, but that fastball and breaking ball, he just does a great job of mixing up his speeds. And you can see one of the SEC players of the week. Well, when you throw a complete game, 8-inning, 1 hitter, that'll get you some accolades.
Braden Holcomb with a nice week as well for Vanderbilt. Everybody in the SEC a winning record through non-conference. A couple of talented freshmen there. How about Mississippi State? That's who Arkansas will open the conference slate with here at home. First pitch here, Alex Bustamante to short. Brumbaugh's throw is wild. And that hit came over the fence and hit the back part of the screen above the dugout, so second base for Bustamante. But to finish the thought, Mississippi State 11-0 right now, Troy.
Yeah, they're really on a roll and getting in the top 5 in the country. That's going to be the first SEC team that's going to come to Fayetteville in the first opening SEC weekend. I believe that starts 13th, 14th, 15th of March.
Texas, the other team in the SEC that's unbeaten thus far at 10-0.
It was a second error by Arkansas in this ball game. Fisher seeing if he can pitch around that runner at second base. Well, Fisher's got that really good slurvy slider, and then he busts that fastball at 91 right up under your hands, and probably looks about 94, 95 after those slow breaking balls.
Line just over Souza's glove. Bustamante waved around. The throw's going to come to second. Just not able to get the glove on the player before he came into second. RBI double for Holden Rook. Take another look.
Just a bullet off the bat, a changeup left up in the zone. The runner at second freezes right there, but that ball's away from Ruiz, but really strong throw, and Kozel comes up with something, just a great slide right there by Holden Rook into second base. And that was courtesy of Paul Guillier. Every year he has he is the head umpire for the SEC umpiring crews. Always have a conference call with him, and he goes over different stats. That's a pretty interesting one.
You know, when you think about, when you break that down and think, okay, the amount of challenges that the coaches get and that they don't lose one if they win the challenge, I mean, it kind of puts the ball in the coach's court of you're probably not going to get anything wrong throughout the course of a game. You're not going to be looking back saying, we had this call that didn't go our way but didn't get a chance to review it, or we were out of challenges, or whatever the case may be. But that's a big strikeout on Preston Knott to keep that runner at second base.
Yeah, it's that breaking ball, that left-on-left breaking ball. And, again, pitchers' jobs are just figure out how to miss the barrel. And Colin Fisher did that on a really good hitter in Preston Knott.
Melendez, big cut at the first pitch. Fisher also the national pitcher of the week after that complete game one-hit shutout.
Josh, we talked so much about pitches and location and things, and Colin Fisher's going to come out of this inning and he's going to go, I left a changeup right over the heart of the plate, and that's what Holden Rook hit. Just not a bad pitch, just a missed spot. He wants to keep that down and away. And good hitters hit mistakes.
Nice job by Kojal there to cover the ground. Retires Melendez as Holden Rook gets down to third base. But how about 17 scoreless innings to start the 2026 season for Colin Fisher? That's pretty good.
That's really solid. And talk about solid. That's a good play over there at second base by Camden Kojal. He has a long ways to go. He doesn't get a big hop. He has to really go down to the dirt. Took a little extra second to kind of get his balance instead of rushing that throw over to first base. And again, that's a note that youngsters need to do. A lot of times you have more time than you think. That you can see that runner come down the first base line. You know how much time you have. Gather yourself a little bit, make a clean, crisp throw to first base.
Zach Mazik, transfer from Louisiana Tech, broken wrist, not able to play last year after spending his first 2 years at Baylor. 2 seasons ago, he was a .299 hitter for the Baylor Bears in the Big 12.
Really like that Louisiana Tech program led by Lane Burrows down there in Ruston.
.02 outside. This is what Mike Trapasso was talking to us about, that he's talking to his guys about, is scoreboard pressure. Got to get those 2 out RBIs. That's what's going to win you ball games.
Yeah, Mazik is a guy that really glad to be in that spot right here. 7 RBIs early on and hitting .372 in this young 2026 season.
Got him swinging. Run. And Colin Fisher closes the door after that.
Really good 2-strike pitch by Colin Fisher. Really expands that strike zone and gets the DH for the Mavericks to go down swinging and leaves a runner stranded at third base. Hogs still up 5-1. go to the new hurler for the Mavericks. A little delayed in a shout out to my grandson, big 1-year birthday yesterday. About Tate Williams, happy birthday yesterday, big man. So Arkansas's got UTA's got Hayes Melville. We saw him on Friday, a guy that's got some electric stuff out of the bullpen for the Mavericks. He'll sit the fastball low to mid-90s, a lot of carry on that fastball. And again, a little bit struggles with command with a lot of young pitchers with a big arm, but he can definitely bring it for UTA.
He got a eventful save on Friday. Could call it a lot of things. They were up 4-0, and after an error, they brought Melville in out of the bullpen. It looked like a second time they were going to get the final out of the game. A long fly ball. Ultimately able to hang on for that 4-3 win in game 1. Ryder Helfrich 2 for 2 today.
Yeah, opportunity right here. Sorry, Josh. Opportunity right here for see if Arkansas can respond to the run that the Mavericks produced in that last inning. That's always a sign that coaches want. I know Coach Van Horn is really wanting to erase that one spot that UTA put up in that first, maybe add to this lead. And you never really feel too safe when you've got an opponent like the Mavericks that can show that they can put some runs on the board. A lot of times you think right there, okay, you're up 5-1. Why don't you swing in that 3-0 pitch? Again, you just want base runners in this situation.
Borderline pitch, but Helfrich takes it.
Yeah, that bottom part of the zone, home plate umpire Jason Bradley has been very consistent. He's not called, he's almost more calling the high end of the strike zone or that top of the zone more than the bottom. My two favorite stats to look at: RBIs and runs scored. Are you getting on base and allowing guys to knock you in, and you are producing when you're up there with runners on base? And that's why it's really big for Helfrich to get that walk right there. Kind of a warning right there to Melville. Make sure he's allowing the hitter to get those eyes up. Just a safety concern thing for the hitter to be ready before that pitcher goes into their motion.
Up for a ball to Aloy.
Okay, hold on to your hat right here. Kahio Aloy, if he gets something within 2 feet of the strike zone, you're going to see a big-time swing out of the right-hander. Took the fastball. Might have been one of those pitches to see. Is Melville going to walk another one and work another 3-0 count? Still a hitter's count for Kahio.
Hit well to center, playable for Xander McAfee. Helfrich back to first base.
Another ball hit right on the button. How about 109 for Kahio Aloy? Couldn't find a hole, but again, you go back to the dugout and you feel good about the solid contact.
Second straight ball he's hit that had an exit velo of 109. Reese Robinette. First pitch. Under it in left field. Holden Rook makes the catch. I said Melville's been their most consistent guy on the back end, making his 5th relief now of the season. Originally came to their camp as an outfielder. Threw a little bit of bullpen, and they said, forget about that. We'll recruit you as a pitcher.
I tell you what, that seems to work out pretty well for those guys that convert from other positions. How about 96 in the last fastball? I had the pleasure of playing 1 year of summer league baseball up in Nevada, Missouri, and had a guy who was a shortstop that converted.
Hard bouncer off the bat of Stewart. Xavier Melendez has got it. And the side retired. 5-1. Razorbacks lead it. We go to the 6th inning. Back from Baumwalker Stadium, 5 innings in the books. In your game summary, Razorbacks using a couple of home runs in innings 2 and 3 off the starter, Zach Evans, building this lead. And Colin Fisher has been in shutdown mode. No earned runs allowed. An unearned run coming across last inning for the Mavericks.
Again, Fisher getting just better and better. And again, a pitch like that, it doesn't seem like that much, but as a hitter, you're sitting there going, I got no balls, no strikes. I want to look for something that I can hammer, something over the middle of the plate. What does Fisher do? Throws dots of fastball.
This ball well hit towards left center. And on the run, Mike Anu makes the catch.
Boy, that was almost a big-time collision out there between New and Ruiz. Just missed each other. I think that was one that's as an outfielder, you don't want to call that ball too early, and so you're both quiet, you're running, and then kind of at the last minute you kind of, okay, I've got it. Heads up play by Ruiz, because that could have knocked out a pair of outfielders. So back to my story of
yes.
relievers. Like you always know, anybody that's been in broadcasting, you don't want to start a story with 2 outs, because as soon as you do, it's going to roll over. But playing some summer baseball up in Nevada, Missouri in the Jayhawk League, and had a pretty good guy that was a shortstop, played at Arizona. They decided, goes in the Reds organization. They said, you know what? You got a pretty good arm over at shortstop. Let's put you on the mound. Ended up working out pretty well for him. Trevor Hoffman. How about one of the best relievers in the history of Major League Baseball? Converted shortstop.
Nice play by Nolan Souza to charge in.
Souza almost froze just a little bit out of when that ball was first hit. Was able to catch that ball before it had another bounce, and getting pretty comfortable over there at third base.
Is it true in that Jayhawk Summer League that to repay a pitcher for hitting one of your batters rather than asking your pitcher the next inning to hit one of theirs, that you just accidentally let go of the bat up the middle towards the pitcher?
Wow.
A few batters later.
I did not ever know that.
I heard a rumor one time. Never talked to anybody who played in the league other than the person I heard the rumor from. That was never you, though.
That's a little interesting.
Is that a wood bat league?
No. Well, unless they've changed it. A long time ago, it was still aluminum. Or composite now that they have. Fisher again up in the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Wafted towards left center, falls in.
Looked like a 9-iron that Ho just kind of flipped out in the shallow left center field. Like, those are the base hits as a pitcher. You're like, okay, I threw a great pitch. The guy just kind of dumped one in the outfield. It's not like I got one turned around at 109 like Kahio Aloy's hit a couple times. Ryder Helfrich doing a little groundwork behind the home plate. And I'll tell you what it does if you're a defender for a guy like Colin Fisher that throws a lot of strikes. It definitely keeps you up on your toes. You're ready, you're more focused. You know that the game's just not going to drag out, or at least the inning. And that helps you just be more locked in defensively. Get a guy that's walking a bunch of people and makes it much more difficult to stay focused. Yes, I go back to Kalen Dygert, the hitter right here, and just what a gem that he spun on Friday. Again, he not only did he just paint the corners, he just never threw anything over the middle. That's going to catch him right there. Well, he's going to say he's leaned in and said, that's a strike.
Crowd's appreciative of that. And look, there was 2 baseballs thrown back to Colin Fisher.
This is going to bring out Mike Trapazzo, get a little explanation on what happened here. Here's the breaking ball. You can see Dygert really leaned into that one.
UT Arlington's challenging the call of hit by pitch at the plate. This play is under review.
Is a reviewable play.
Definitely think this one's going to be a pretty quick one. See if that leg doesn't go out the stride, and does he kind of lean into it with that knee? I definitely think so. He was kind of leaning forward and kind of rolling kind of away from it at the same time. That is home plate umpire Jason Bradley that made that call. You can see Ryder Helfrich really quickly. Not that Jason Bradley needed any help.
After review, it's been determined that the hitter leaned into the pitch. Therefore, by rule, it's determined to add a strike to the count. UT Arlington loses their first challenge. They have 1 remaining.
Like you said, you can't take your challenges with you, Josh, so you might as well use them. And you think that would really kind of maybe change the complexion of this at-bat. Full count, you're going to see the runner take off with 2 outs at first base.
There you go. Colin Fisher follows it up with another strike. He's got 7 strikeouts today. 5-1 lead for the home team.
Yeah, so I just shifted my weight to my back foot, all of it to my back foot. I guess instead of moving backwards and then forwards, I was kind of just staring back and moving to center. I think it just simpled everything out. See the ball. I started hitting.
You like to see players be able to make those adjustments, even when they've already had so much success in their career at this level, but not afraid to do different things and just trying to improve their craft every day.
Yeah, sometimes just a little tweak, a balance thing. The biggest thing I think as a hitter, no matter what you do, just try to keep that head still. You don't want that head moving a lot, and sometimes you get guys take a real big stride and their head drops 6-8 inches. Just makes it that much harder to try to hit something that's moving. The Mavericks going with a new pitcher, Jacob Gabler, 6'6" right-hander, coming into the ball game. Definitely a big arm for Gabler. They're throwing the low to mid-90s, just a two-pitch mix guy, like a lot of power pitchers, fastball and slider.
New skies one up into shallow left center. And it's the shortstop. Alex Bustamante makes the catch.
That was a big league pop out, and Bustamante almost didn't give that glove up fast enough. That almost kind of hit him right smack dab in the face. After that first wild pitch by Gabler, he recalibrated and got one back in the zone.
Transfer from Washington State, spent the 2023 and 2024 seasons there, made 5 relief appearances.
.95 on that last fastball by Gabler.
Strike at the bottom edge of the zone. 1-2 to Souza.
What a tough pitch you get a piece of. That's a fastball up in the zone, probably a baseball or two above the top of the strike zone, but too close to take for Souza. As a hitter, that's what you want to do. Just get a piece of it, spoil that pitch, and hope you get one down in the zone you can drive somewhere.
Trying to work himself back into the count now, 2-2. Nolan with a productive ground out last time up. A single run in that 4th inning without the benefit of a hit for the Razorbacks.
Gabler tried to throw the slider right there, so if you're Souza, you still kind of sit on that fastball. It's all you've seen in the strike zone so far. Great pitch. Dotted the bottom part of that zone, and good job by Ho, the catcher. It's definitely not one that was out of the zone, but sometimes you like your catcher just to pull that one up just a hair. And that's what velocity does. We talked about, you hear all these different terms about carry and things like that. Well, that's what velocity is. That spin rate will keep that ball on plane. And the technical term now is induced vertical break, and it just kind of holds plane, almost looks like it rises just a little bit.
How about the last 4 plate appearances for Carson Brumbaugh spanning to yesterday? Walk, infield single, double, and sac fly.
Well, the talent's there, definitely.
Takes off on this one to the gap in right center. There you go. Troy, you said it yesterday coming to the ballpark. His average was below 100, and you were quick to say he's got some really quality at-bats. He's not a below 100 hitter.
Well, I love this approach right here. He took a fastball, just a great pitcher's pitch, about 93 in the outside bottom part of the plate. He doesn't panic. He doesn't get too jumpy at the plate. Takes the slider right where you're supposed to hit it. It's breaking away from you. You want to hit it where it's pitched. Shot it right in the gap. Just like Dad used to do it, right?
There you go. His father, Cliff, great player. He could hit it a mile. Ruiz hit that one off his foot. Not the first time in this series.
That's the one that you say you're okay, and it takes about another minute before you get feeling back in that foot. See, well, here was the big guard there, and it seems like it always misses the guard and finds some kind of a bare spot, probably right on top of that shoelace.
Back up the middle for a base hit. RBI for Damian Ruiz, his second.
Well, Damian Ruiz was still feeling it after he hit that base hit up the middle. Watch him right here. He's just kind of lumbering down the first base line, just a seeing eye single right past Bustamante. Speed by Brumbaugh, scores easily, and that'll make that foot feel a little bit better. Get a base hit RBI. That's where you gotta love when guys in front of you put themselves into scoring position.
And he swipes second base.
Okay, I love that move by Nate Thompson, the hitting coach, and he definitely calls all the different plays over there at first in the first base dugout. But after a guy that's been hit by a pitch, he's kind of hobbly a little bit, and start him up.
Bats are going now. Kojal drives in Ruiz on his way to second. Second extra base hit of the ball game for Kojal.
Camden Kojal just continuing to keep that swing compact. Just shot that one right past Melendez at second. You see Ruiz kind of gingerly crossing home plate. That foot's still kind of tingling a little bit. Kojal appreciating the stolen base, and he gets an RBI.
First pitch, Ryder Helfrich tees off. It's out of here. Fifth homer of the year for Ryder Helfrich.
Just a hanging breaking ball at the top of the zone. Helfrich with tremendous power. 105 off the bat of Helfrich. Hit that one almost 390 feet into the seats in the hog pen. You can see he's pretty fired up as well.
Four straight hits for the Razorbacks, 3 of them extra base.
Got a lot of 2-out magic right here in this inning for Arkansas. After the pop out by Mike Anu, the strikeout by Souzas. Freshman Brumbaugh got things rolling with a double, and they haven't looked back since then.
How about the Razorbacks in this series, Troy? With 2 outs, 12 of 33, hitting .363.
Well, that'll really help the team right there.
Yanked foul. Here comes the payoff pitch. Knocked through the hole at short. That's 5 consecutive hits for the Razorbacks.
Even on ground balls, Kahio Aloy's hitting the ball hard. How about 108 off the bat of Kahio Aloy?
It'll be a call to the bullpen for the Mavericks. They'll use their 5th pitcher of the game. We'll tell you who it is when we come back to Baum-Walker Stadium. New man on the mound will be lefty. First lefty the Hogs have seen today. Merrick Sears takes over.
Yeah, the senior 6'3" left-hander is going to have that fastball sitting in the upper 80s. Throws a slider and a change as well. Kind of 3/4 release, that arm slot. Arkansas is going to have a pinch hitter here because Sears, left-hander, is only hitting 182, which Reese Robinette is. And they're going to go with Alexander Peck, who's going to pinch hit and come in and play first base. Right-handers, much more success, hitting .333 against Sears.
First pitch, bouncing ball is back up the middle. Aloy down to third base.
I love that early count, aggressive nature by Peck, the pinch hitter. Sometimes you see pinch hitters get a little tentative. I want you to go up there hacking if I'm the coach, and usually has a lot more success. Might be the best pitch you see. Arkansas is going to leave the left-handed veteran Zach Stewart going left on left right here.
First career hit for Peck and puts what could be the winning run on base.
Boy, Sears, it almost looked like he was going to go to first base. That stride was about where Micah New is in the on-deck circle. Firing from a cross-body position. A little bit of a tough angle for that left-handed hitting Stewart. He's got to keep that front shoulder closed, and if a left-handed hitter, you got to think kind of up the middle the other way, where the guy that's going to, that baseball is going to start in your back pocket.
Just got a piece. Razorbacks hurting themselves in this inning. Ruiz fouled one off his foot as well.
He's still trying to walk that one off as well. It's going to bring up the full count. The Mavericks going to play behind Peck at first base. Kalen Dygert, the first baseman, making sure his pitcher knows he's not holding the runner, so Peck's going to get a head start. Anything in the gap's going to score Peck from first.
Base is loaded up. And the crowd saying, finally, been holding this beer hat all day long.
Got to dig that one out of the purse or backpack, whatever you've got it in. Build a few decorations. How about some buttons on your beer hat?
Adding some flair.
Boy, Sears really pulled a string on that 80-mile-an-hour changeup right there. New way out in front. Quickly, Sears gets up on Micah New. Now he's in the driver's seat. As a pitcher, you want this pitch to be competitive and make New offer, but definitely keep it out of the zone.
Grounder towards short, having to hurry and safe. Bustamante did about all he could from short, but the speed of Micah New, deadly.
Great hustle right there by Micah New, and you just run through the base. A lot of times, you know, guys will really take a big lunge that last step and stride. I think you're actually faster to run through it.
First pitch, Nolan Souza lifts it up towards left center. Holden Rook there to make the catch. The side finally retired, but a big swing in the sixth inning.
Ryder Helfrich saw one up in the zone, did not miss. A little bat flip there for the junior catcher for Arkansas.
for the Razorbacks. Right-hander Steele Eves takes over.
Yeah, Eves is just one of those guys that will absolutely fill up the strike zone. Just kind of that bulldog mentality. On the bump, he'll run that fastball in the low 90s, might hit 94. Has some good sinks. So when Eves is on, there are a lot of ground balls that he'll throw out of that right hand. Really good numbers, just great strikeout to walk ratio. At 10 punch outs, only 2 walks.
Alex Bustamante will lead off in the 7th. 8-9-1 to bat for the Mavericks. Bustamante has been hit by a pitch, reached on an error, and then scored the only run thus far for the Mavericks. First pitch strike from Eves. But for Colin Fisher, his 6th inning performance today, 5 hits. 19 innings now logged this season and still no earned runs against Colin Fisher.
Talking to Dave Van Horn earlier, excuse me, it was Matt Hobbs, and he said, you know, you could have gone Gibbler or Fisher in that Sunday starter, and he said it was pretty even. He said the reason why he went with Fisher instead of Gibbler was Fisher was used to starting, and Gibbler has used to been coming out of the pen, and sometimes guys kind of get into that mindset of, am I a starter or not? And the routines are different, and so it was kind of that toss-up early in the spring. I don't think you can make a bad decision with either one of those guys.
Right.
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah, you kind of talked about that a little bit yesterday with being asked about the relievers and just how strong that they have been, and yeah, it makes it to where you've got guys that are coming out there. They might not get as many chances as they want because of, you know, some of the longer starting outings we've been getting, but hey, whenever their number's called, they've all been up to the challenge, and that means there's just not enough innings to go around. But it's a good thing with conference play looming that you've got so many guys that are trusted to this point.
Yeah, I think so. You know, only one midweek game this next week, but Arkansas scheduling a 4-game series. Nice job by Steele Eves. Gets the punch out right there, the breaking ball off the plate, and gets Bustamante on the check swing. But Stetson going to come into town next weekend, and it's going to be a 4-game weekend, and I think that's great. Let's see the pitch by Eves first. That breaking ball starts on the corner and just snaps off. I think it's a really good move by Dave Van Horn and the scheduling that he does. It gets you the game that you need, gets more guys in. You're going to have 4 straight games, so you're going to see a lot of extra arms next weekend. But then it also gives you an extra day off going into conference play against Mississippi State, and that's going to be all hands on deck against the Bulldogs. There's a lot of math and science that goes behind the scheduling, and I think that's a really good move.
Holden Rook pops this one up. Right side. The new first baseman, Alexander Peck, makes the catch. Entering today, the last 3 games for the Arkansas bullpen. 11 innings, 1 hit, 18 strikeouts.
I think that'll keep Matt Hobbs, keep a smile on his face. That is about as good as it gets.
Nobody wants to be the one to finally give up a run. Gets a whiff there.
Again, great location. Eves dropping that slider right under the hands of a really good hitter in Preston Knott.
close pitch.
Just up and out of the zone. Again, the graduate, he's had plenty of at-bats in his career and really dialed in on that strike zone. It's amazing what you can do when you don't swing at pitches outside the zone.
Ground ball to the right side. Kojal makes the play. Steele leaves. A 1-2-3 7th inning. We've hit the stretch. Razorbacks leading by 9. Takes over on the mound for UTA. Michael Dobbins now into pitch.
Yeah, Dobbins, this is his first appearance of the season so far. You see the right-hander out of Keller, Texas, and Dobbins, you can definitely tell he's got the body of a freshman. Looks like a gust of wind might move him around on the mound a little bit. Definitely lean goes the right-hander Dobbins.
Would later face Hawaii and beat Hawaii 5-1. Grounded off the mound. Melendez on the move, makes the play.
Really good job by Melendez, covering a lot of ground right there, and off the bat, a little jam shot that just got past the pitcher Dobbins, and I loved how Melendez didn't panic. He got to that baseball, kind of took his time, and got the runner Brumbaugh by a step. Here's another guy that Arkansas would really like to get rolling at the plate is Christian Turner. Definitely has the jets once he gets on the bases, can really run. At a 6'4", 60 guy. Out of Haunton, Louisiana, it's a pretty good place. How about same hometown of Peyton Stovall?
That's good company.
So as a hitter, you've got a 2-0 count. The big thing you want to do is don't be late on the fastball with two balls, no strikes. Really guided swing right there by Turner. Couldn't decide if he wanted to pull the trigger or not. Now Turner can tighten up that zone a little bit more, really maybe cut that plate in half, and either way you want to do it. You can look middle half, outer half, but really make that mind up, and if that pitch is in that zone, then be aggressive with the swing. That's a great changeup right there by the freshman Dobbins. You're not expecting that. 3-1, you're thinking dead red fastball, and then he drops that one in on you.
Outside, ball 4. Well, good job by Turner not to try to force the issue there. For the 5 walks today, again, both of these programs traditionally good in strikeout to walk ratio, and so the 5 walks issued today, as many as each of the first 2 games combined. And Kojal takes ball 1. Kojal came into the day with a team-leading .842 slugging percentage.
Definitely seeing the ball big and hitting it hard.
He's only added to that today with the home run and the double. 3 runs driven in, now 16 on the year. Back-to-back walks.
Another pinch hitter for Arkansas. Ryder Helfrich's day's done. This is Carter Rutenbar. Really like how the freshman Rutenbar swings the bat, how he approaches each plate appearance. See him out of that Midlothian, Texas area, kind of down there in that Dallas area. Pitcher's pitch by Dobbins. Sometimes there's good takes early on the count. That was a good take for a strike.
Helfrich's day finishes 3 for 3 with a walk. The home run, the 2-run shot last inning.
Freshman Dobbins really leaning on that changeup against left-handers, trying to get them to pound that ball into the ground. And also working away from those lefties.
Chopper to the right side. Sneaks through. Turner coming in. And the Razorbacks walk it off. Carter Rutenberg. Nice, memorable moment in the young and promising career of the freshman. Bouncing one through the right side to put the run rule in effect.
Well, great speed at second base, and Turner, and again, the soft chopper just found some eyes right between the first and second baseman. As soon as it got some